Joining me right now, we have Jason and Robin Vosler with an organization called Adonai Restoration. Thank you for coming by. Jason, I'm going to start with you. What exactly is Adonai Restoration?
Adonai Restoration is an idea that gives individuals an opportunity to experience life's best using every platform that this world gives us. And so what we do is use different settings, like a counseling setting or a authentic community type of setting, where we implement principles that are written into our DNA that allow us to be who we are rather than trying to be someone who we're not.
Now, primarily we're talking about people who have addiction problems. And when we say addiction, I mean, the first thing we think of is drug and alcohol. But are there other kinds of addictions that people have?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we started out just focusing on addiction. But what we found is that the principles in which we were learning and teaching the people that would come to us would apply to everyone, not just drug addicts and alcoholics, not just, you know, white people or African Americans or any race, not just Christians or Buddhists or really people that don't even associate with any religion, but everyone. And so that's where we decided to use those same principles and expand beyond just addiction and really help people find life restoration from anything that they need to heal from past experiences or things that they've been through.
And Jason, you work for the Salvation Army, so you've worked with a lot of people that are struggling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a recovered drug addict and alcoholic myself, working on 12 years right now, and my adventure carried on through that as a career. And once leaving the Salvation Army, we made a decision to start Adonai Foundation, which was a safe place for all people to come and experience life restoration. Traveled all over the place doing interventions and addiction counseling and public speaking in regards to my personal experience, strength, and purpose. And now we have moved on into this new realm, which is complete life restoration for all people. What we found was that the focus always tends to be on the addict, but it's not really the addict's sole problem. You know, I have a saying, it begins and ends with me, or it begins and ends with you. And so for us, as people would come in for addiction help, then I would allow the entire family to focus on themselves. And when they focus on themselves, everything around them begins to change.
You know, sometimes these treatment centers are criticized because they say, well, you're just replacing an addiction with something else that may or may not be an addiction, but it's substitution. Is that what happens oftentimes in traditional settings like this?
Oh, absolutely. Everything from just taking a pill to solve their problem, or working out, or picking up a new exercise or habit that replaces it. And what they haven't done is dealt with who they are, where they are, and learn how to just be the greatest person that they could be at that very moment.
Now, you have facilities for both men and women. Are the problems the same whether you're a man or woman as far as addiction is concerned, as to terms of what causes it? And is there a root cause for addiction or not?
I mean, the only reason I'm smiling is because Jason says, and a lot of people in the industry say, that women are harder to deal with. But as a woman, it was important to me that we take that next step and try to help women that are going through any transition in life, and you know, even specifically women with children that are just going through something like I experienced last year with cancer, or a loss of work or hours, or separation, divorce, and drugs and alcohol. And so, excuse me, I think that it stems from something from their past, typically, and that's how we find life restoration, is getting back to them understanding where they came from and positioning them for life's greatest.
Now, can people successfully beat the addiction and move on with a normal life where they aren't so dependent upon a place? Because I've dealt with a lot of people that are in the kind of situation, and they said the weak point is getting to the point where you can live with yourself and you don't have to totally rely on what some people describe as a crutch behind there. And is there a religious tie into this?
I would say that there's a spiritual tie into it. What we try to do is stay away from connecting ourselves to any particular belief system, which allows us to work with anybody, any age, any race, any class, and it enables them to find out, again, who they are and find out how they were created and where they came from, which positions them, again, to not just beat addiction, if you will, but to experience all that life has to offer.
What about with AA and NA? You're always beholden to a higher power. And in a lot of ways, it makes it easier to beat an addiction because you know there's somebody greater than you that's out there that you can either rely upon or that you can lean on, and knowing that you are not the center of the universe. Because oftentimes I think people think that the world entirely rotates around me and it's all about me. But as you said, it's more than just about the one person.
Yeah, and I think to Jason's point, what he was trying to explain as far as like not being associated with any type of belief system is when people come in, we basically want them to surrender to what we call infinite possibilities. Okay. Meaning, they might have some type of negative or positive feeling towards some type of belief system or religion, and we really want to help all people. And sometimes they won't even come to you thinking that it might be something different, or really people are afraid of the unknown.
Well, they're afraid of being treated for something because of the stigma that goes along with being treated for anything.
Right, absolutely. We were just talking about the stigma that still surrounds addiction. But again, we've expanded, and we're, everybody has something that they're dealing with in life, and so it's not just an addiction. Addiction is just that symptom. That's the way they deal with the pain from their past. And so treating the addiction isn't the hardest thing in the world, but keeping them clean is where you have to dig deep. You have to do the hard work. You have to do the change, and like you were saying, be okay with yourself.
Okay, now let's talk about it. If somebody's listening to this conversation right now and they would like to get a hold of you, first of all, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, our website's AdonaiRestoration.org, and our office number. I'm sure that you guys can put it on the screen or something.
And then secondly, when it comes to, so it's AdonaiRestoration.org.
Yes.
When it comes to paying for this, because sometimes that becomes an obstacle. Are you private pay, insurance, what?
Yeah, we're not insurance because we're not a medical facility, but we take it on a case-by-case basis because we have the heart and desire to help people, right here in Tampa Bay, back in our own backyards, and people are struggling more than they've ever struggled before.
That's for sure.
They're hurting more, but people are also ready for change more than ever in history, I believe. And so our desire is to help everyone that we can. We do that through people paying themselves, and then when there is, on a case-by-case basis, people that can't afford it, we look for support from the community, support from friends and family, and really, just our desire so strong that we're usually able to get, assistance from either.
And facilities are located where?
In Tampa.
All the facilities right now in Tampa. Great idea, folks. If you need to contact them, AdonaiRestoration.org. Very, very interesting, and anybody that's trying to beat an addiction. But God bless you, and hope you can get your way through it. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.